I'll record it.
Oh,
Okay. And then I'll send it to you.
okay. Thank you.
We're recording. So we're not, everything that you were looking at in the past as your family was part of the delusion. But I can really get that you're attached to the role of being the sister. And so what you get out of that role is you get to live in the ego mind. That's what you get. It doesn't mean you're going to abandon anybody, but you have to make another choice to be in the Christ mind to help anybody here. When you go down that path of fear, and we're not even talking about believing God or not believing God. Nobody in the ego mind believes in God. It's impossible. These two cannot possibly meet each other. Love and fear are completely separate paradigms. There's no meeting there. So I'm like going down from the love fear and yanking you up and saying, forget what you believe in the ego mind. It's all a lie. And you have no strength down there. There's no way the ego is going to help you or help. What's your brother's name?
John.
Sean?
John.
John. It can't help John. It's having a ball right now, screwing all of you. Remember, that's the matrix. Okay? So if you choose the Christ mind, in other words, if you choose to deal in truth, if you choose to move to the level of love and give all that shit to the Holy Spirit that you just were wallowing in. Because honestly, it doesn't work for any one of us. It's a hellhole. I think the only thing I can show you mostly is don't take a stand. Take a stand with all of these people. Mary Jo, don't let anybody move you off your vertical. Give me a call if this is where your life depends on. Now, you don't want to go back.
No, I don't.
Don't want to go back.
I got sucked right back down into the darkness.
That's okay. We need each other, right? So don't go after yourself for that. We need each other. We need to hold each other in Korean's hallway, we could say. And so from the Christ mind, this is the atonement prayer. We say, hey, I'm sorry to myself that I went back into that hellhole of ego mind. And I forgive Mary Jo and I forgive my sister because they don't know any better. They weren't on the breakthrough retreat. They don't know any better. That's what they're offering you is not what you need. Okay. So what you need is to give it to the Holy Spirit. I need to finish here.
Okay.
I'm sorry I use these people who don't stand in the truth to advise me, to be partners with me. I'm just sorry that I did that. I choose to bring this to the Holy Spirit now and have all of this transformed, to have my mind cleaned up here. You agree?
100%.
So let's you and I join. Let's join for a second before we go any further. Yeah. And all you have to do is just relax. There's nothing else. You already are this light, Sarah. You never lost it. So I'm getting a little bit of a something here. If you were Christ, if you were Christ, how would you handle this differently?
Just with love.
That's enough. To just look at the whole situation that everybody thinks they're in. Look at their nightmare dreams. There's no way you need to save them from that. That's not even possible. They need to go through what they're going through. And you need to put your foot down if it doesn't agree with you. Like this rental. You don't need to see your sister, saying, you just need to say no. That's all. You don't have to judge her. You just have to say, no, that's not appropriate. I won't go there. That's it. Doesn't matter if she barks at the tree
Or
or
to her?
huh?
To myself or to her?
To her. It's not good for you, so you just say, no, I'm not doing that. That's all. Ask to be informed by Christ, the Christ that lives inside of you. Not from the weakness of the ego mind. You don't need to take care of John. Do you remember how Daniel was with Ulf? That's what to do.
Yeah, I've been relinquishing my role of false responsibility for my family and um,
Who are you like? Are you like your father or your mother?
bit of both.
You're like both of them, okay. And who's your sister like?
I have 5 sisters who are all,
Oh, 5.
yeah.
Okay.
My sister's like my father.
Okay.
Mine
Uh,
on the highway.
and now, so why don't you see if you can look at her point of view there without judging her? That's all. Just sit with that without a judgment. Don't take any sides. She could be right. But as soon as you can open that up, you'll know inside what's right for you. But you know what? You don't have to win. If you've got 4 other sisters or 5 other sisters, my goodness.
Yeah, this is the clutter. They all come to me. I said to my one sister that's here, I said, I want you guys to stop complaining to me and telling me, I feel like saying to my sister Patricia, who wrote this email today, if you feel like that, you tell John. But she refuses to call him.
Okay. So without getting involved in the story, what do you want to say? Instead of telling her that, just what do you want to say? You see, you didn't say what you wanted to say.
I want to say what you said. This is not appropriate.
Bingo. It's just you can feel that and just put it out there. And you don't have to say anything else to anybody else.
Judith, I know this is like a nightmare and I just want it to go away.
It's not going away. It's not a nightmare. This is going to give you what you really need. You need to be able to stand up and not be rolled over all the time. This is for you, Sarah.
I don't want to be responsible for my family anymore.
Then say that. Tell them that. Just be honest. I don't want this kind of responsibility anymore. You're all grown up.
And then the part of me that wants to stand back, and I'm the only one really communicating with my brother, then I feel guilty for just, if I don't do it, who's going to, do we just leave him to, I don't know.
Where are you going right now? What's the picture? What's the picture?
Here.
Yeah. Okay. So, and you're going into the future. You're trying to manage the future using the past, and it won't work. You've got to ask for guidance from the Holy Spirit and give it to the Holy Spirit. And honestly, if you just write that atonement out prayer out today and put it somewhere where you can read it, it's done. It's already done if you do that.
Which atonement prayer? Do you mean the one I forgive myself, or using
Mm-hmm.
that myself?
You're giving this situation to the Holy Spirit. It's just like the Alcoholics Anonymous, and who is God? Who is the God that you're giving this to? Who is the Holy Spirit that is in charge of these things?
I just had that vision of Darth Vader putting the black helmet on me and just going.
So the ego's playing with you.
Mm-hmm.
That's all.
Big time.
Yeah. Yeah. Because it can. Because it can.
Okay, so I have a burning question. So as in the form level, I get confused. Do I just sit in my apartment and be still and ask God to guide me and hand all of this over? Or do I be proactive? Do I try to heal the guilt that I'm holding, around the situation? I'm in a place where I've been doing all of that and I'm confused and
Yeah, I hear that. Yeah. Um, you haven't been getting good guidance, first of all, and you've got all of these sisters, so you need some support right now. That's what I feel. And you need the support of a holy relationship. We're here right now. And don't go elsewhere. Don't listen to another voice. This, and let's open the Course in Miracles and see. Let's just flip it open and see if there's anything.
mine is in my bedroom.
Do you want to go run get it? I just got another thing too, but open that up. Just tell me where you go to, and I'll read with you. Holy Spirit, give us a reading of guidance.
The Laws of Chaos.
What's the page?
489. Got my glasses.
Oh, good. Do you want me to read it to you, or do you want to read it?
I love that. I love your voice. It's so beautiful, soothing.
The laws of chaos can be brought to light, though never understood. Chaotic laws are hardly meaningful, and therefore out of reason's sphere. In other words, you can't figure this out. Yet they appear to be an obstacle to reason and to truth. Let us then look upon them calmly, that we may look beyond them, understanding what they are, not what they would maintain. It is essential it be understood what they are for, because it is their purpose to make meaningless and to attack the truth. Good. Here are the laws that rule the world you made, and yet they govern nothing, and need not be broken, merely looked upon and gone beyond. So I think that's your answer. I don't think we need to read anymore. And what it says is these laws, they're the world's laws that you're trying to deal with right now, and their only purpose is attack, to attack you and to attack the truth. And that's everything you've been talking about. So if you put yourself here as the most important, precious being there is right now, would you continue to attack yourself with this kind of confusion? Is that even a choice?
I don't want to do that anymore.
No. So it's like just take your hand and just push it all off the table. Are you receiving the energy that's happening right now?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. This is it. This is God coming in because you've opened and you've asked for help.
And so this is all I need to do is ask for help. I don't need to add any guilt to myself that
You've left that paradigm, Sarah. It's over. Honestly, you've left there. Close the door. And what do you need help with?
staying vertical
That's all.
in my mind.
That's all. And if you use the 7 key principles, let's go through them. Am I willing to have all of this whole situation transformed the way I see it, my perception of it? Each little corner of it, the part with my sisters, the part with John, the part with Mary Jo. Yes. Okay. Number 2, I take full responsibility for creating this chaos because I chose it. You see, you chose it again. That's all. You don't need to beat yourself up. Don't go. I just made the wrong choice today. I chose it. Okay, I choose again. I am responsible to make another choice then. To choose that new paradigm that has no attack in it. It will not attack you. To be defenseless. So I'm going to talk to you about being defenseless because I've been looking at it for a while.
I would love that.
You know, what is defenselessness in a situation like this? To me, it's you not having to have the answer. Yeah. To me, it's you not, it's going back and saying these thoughts do not mean anything. The way I'm seeing this is meaningless. I can't know what this is for. I need to take down all my defenses and say I don't know. I don't know. To anybody who asks you, I haven't received guidance yet.
I'm feeling you're giving me permission to let go of trying to handle the situation at farm level.
Yeah, and I'm hugging you. You're my sister.
All this responsibility is too much.
Yeah, but it's more than responsibility. The abuser is in here going after you. I see that abuse, that's trying to control everything from an abusive place, that it continually attacks you with the weight and the burden of a situation that is totally chaotic. It's a total ego takeover. It's very mean.
It is. It's vicious.
It's vicious. Yeah. So to be defenseless is not to have to play. You don't have to play here because you don't want to. And you don't need to defend against it because it's not even real. You're fine not knowing the answer. You don't know what this is for.
Yes. Everyone is looking to me to have the answer, and I'm saying I don't want this role anymore, but it's yeah.
Is that true?
No,
That you don't want this role anymore?
it is true.
You sure?
Yes.
Okay.
When I started the Course in Miracles, I was saying to myself, I don't want any responsibility for anything ever again. I want someone that I can just lean on and put my shoulder on there and say, I'm done.
Okay, well, let's go this direction then. I'm getting a lot of guidance here. Sarah, you don't even exist. This you that you're talking about that doesn't want to play this role, you know, I would say get rid of it. Get rid of her, get rid of that whole story of Sarah. Don't worry about the role. Does this make some sense to you? You're not, your Sarahhood is coming to an end. That's what wants to happen. This gig, this performance that you took on because you thought it was good. You thought you were being helpful. It was a takeover. It was a seduction by the ego. But in fact, Sarah, the only thing that you possibly can be is love. That's the only truth about your being. So when you think of giving up the role, think of giving up Sarah. And if you give up Sarah, what else goes with her? I gave up Judith. I could not be talking to you today if I was talking to you from Judith, because she doesn't know anything. And she would collude, she would try to please you, or, you know, or she'd be doing it for money, or, you know, all those creepy things. But that's not here.
I feel empty, but I
Yeah.
don't.
You're not empty.
I feel like I don't know anything.
Good. Yes. That's you don't. You don't need to know anything. There's nothing but this moment. This is all there is. Right here, right now. And all this love that's just beating away. This is all that's real. And this is all that's on God's radar right now. The rest doesn't even exist.
I know it's a nightmare. It's like it's a bad dream. And if I could only attach that to know that.
So you will know it by doing what I'm doing with you. Is to just look and come back to the present moment. You know how to do that. Just drop into the present moment. There's no future, there's no past. Feel your energy in your hand. Lift your hand up and just look at the palm of your hand and just feel the energy in the hand. Can you feel the energy? That's the beginning of the present moment, right here and right now. And see, as soon as you give your attention to a sensation, no story can stay. No story, no chaotic. The chaos cannot exist in the present moment. The chaos cannot exist when you're sneezing, when you're laughing, when you're pooping, when you're eating ice cream, when you're walking in the woods. If you're really doing those things, then you're in the present moment and there's no chaos. But if you're walking in the woods and all you're doing is this, then you need to choose again. That's how I do it. And it can be boring sometimes in the present moment because there's no drama.
That's what my heart craves.
Yeah, the silence that you've been in. You're fine. You just need to recognize when you're tempted out of the vertical. You are going to break through. You are in that process. We are together, all of us that went on this retreat. We are all, our whole DNA is being rewired. So just Only choose to be in conversation with people that are really awake. That's your strongest ally. Don't let any story about Mary Jo, because she knows everything. Well, Lisa knows everything too. You know, she can go to the Course in Miracles and pull anything out, but does she have the vertical strength to meet you? That's what you're really looking for. You're not looking for the intellect
No.
at all. So remember that.
Yeah, I don't want quoted words. I want
No.
with the heart. You
And
know.
by the way, you are God. It's not about do you believe in God? You are God, damn it. You are the Christ and I am the Christ. And we are going to stay in that truth. That's the truth about you. Underneath this chaos is Sarah, the real Sarah. Is this amazing being breaking open. And this is just what you needed, really, because you wouldn't get it if you didn't have this drama going on. You would have gone back to sleep. I don't know where that word is coming from, but I'm getting these pictures of you have these little habits, worldly habits. This is what I'm hearing to tell you that actually numb you out. I don't know what they are, but they're little meetings or little gatherings or so forth that you used to do in the past, and they're part of a ritual that you do that doesn't support you anymore. And so you're being asked to look at those things that do not strengthen you. And there's, David Hawkins,
Yes,
the
I
like,
have.
and how he did the muscle testing thing.
I haven't read it yet. Lisa just gave it to me.
Okay, well, muscle testing where you put your arm up and they say, do you need vitamin A? No. Do you need, well, basically what he says is anything that isn't good for you weakens you. It weakens you. And these things that you're doing, I don't know what they are, but you do. That's what I'm heard. They're actually weakening your vertical. They're not bad. It's not like it's anything bad, but there are things that you do in your life that don't really give you the charge of strength that you really need. You're doing some things that aren't supporting you.
Well, maybe relying on others that are not on the path, or even that are on the path, to take stuff away from my mind. Yeah,
Looking outside yourself for answers.
I turn to wine for comfort, and I want to give that up because
No, it's not about that.
I just feel I need to just numb out.
You don't need to numb out.
Drunk, I just have a glass or two. And
You don't need to worry about that. It's clear. That's another secret form of attack, of taking something away from yourself that comforts you. So notice when you're drinking, and notice if you're drinking to take something away, and give it to the Holy Spirit first. But don't attack yourself with these moral things. Just make choices that really strengthen you. Maybe don't do that with people that aren't on the path. Don't look into the world, is what I hear them saying, whoever is. Don't keep looking at the world to save you. You've already been saved. It's already happened.
I just have to trust that.
You have to trust it, and you have to practice the 7 keep. You have to be vigilant. It's that vigilance. It's not hard, I promise you. So we did defenselessness. Now you're responsible for staying vertical. You're responsible for choosing not to go into the hellhole by using people that are like totally asleep. They're not bad people. They're just sound asleep in their own versions of hell. And they can't show you the way. What's the next one after responsibility? Is that trust?
Is it responsibility and vulnerability?
Vulnerability, that's it. So to be vulnerable,
Sorry, Judah. Yeah, I got them. I put them on a ring.
I'm getting some instructions for you here and for me. To be vulnerable does not mean to collapse. To be vulnerable doesn't mean to collapse. You're confusing vulnerability with collapsing and letting somebody else take over.
Okay.
So vulnerability is to when you've done all those things, vulnerability is to be in the care of Christ, to look to Christ for care, to be vulnerable in every moment, to be vigilant for God. I need your support today. I need your help. I need your guidance. What should I do today? I don't know the way. That's the vulnerability. The collapse, and I used to go into the collapse, that's why they were so loud. The collapse is when we fold in and go back to bed, you know, I don't know, or ask somebody, and
because we're trying to fix it by ourselves.
We're in fear. We're in fear instead of in the real vulnerability. And then the trust, to trust that this is all for your good, that there's no mistake, and then to wait for the gratitude. Like you just had the gratitude. You said, oh my gosh, I feel like this is all being taken away from me. You'll have all the key principles right there. But like Lisa B, you turn around and you open a door from the black bag and go back there and pull it forward. So don't do that. I am the Christ. I am the Son of God. I am guided by the Holy Spirit. I have a good friend, Judith, that will beat me up every time I go into the ego realm. You're okay, honey.
I do. I feel like a little child that needs somebody to go, stop it, stop it.
It's okay. I do too at times. And that's vulnerability. But it's not collapsing. We don't collapse. We go and we get help then. We are children. No more attacking. No more abuse. Don't let the ego talk you into any judging of yourself.
Yeah, that's real vigilance. You've made it very clear.
Yeah, yeah. And see what you can do to really build yourself up, like put on a group, put on these medicine bags that we have. If you need, go to a past group and put it on, or put on David Hoffmeister giving a talk on something. You know, he has so many things. Or
I listen to so many videos. I do.
and do they work?
Yes.
Okay, so that's what I do. I just whatever I can do, I open the Course in Miracles. I say, show me right now what I need to know here. I put on some of the music.
When I came back, I was playing I Surrender for 2 days. I was like, and I was singing it, and I still sing it in my mind, and I was just in heaven.
Mm-hmm.
And then I went to my email, and that I went,
yeah.
And also offered that up, that every time I feel close to God, I don't need to be pulled back by the ego, because I have that belief that because people say, the ego is so vigilant, is so vicious, and, it'll come and I don't want to have that belief. I want to know that if the ego does come.
It can't take you over. It's just a choice. It doesn't matter. If the ego comes and you go down, say, I'm choosing again.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid of it. I'm making another choice. That was a slip.
Yeah, because I've been in my depression and all that crap.
It isn't your depression. That's a story.
Yeah.
That's a story, my story that belongs to the old Sarah.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me about your heart. Tell me about your heart. Yes.
Heart.
Your heart.
My heart, I put in a prison years ago with a big cage.
Is your heart here right now?
Yes.
Okay. Would you like to give that story up?
Yeah.
All right. You don't need those stories. So drop into your heart. It's right here. And I want you to go back to a time in your life when you were so totally innocent. This little blonde haired, blue eyed Sarah didn't even know to have a thought about anything. What did you like to play?
Dolls.
What did you like to play with dolls?
Mothering.
How
Dressing.
did you,
Eating.
feeding them? Okay. And how did that make you feel?
Good.
What was it about that made you feel good?
I think we had a large doll's house that we could stand up in the garden, and I think it was my escape from what was going on inside the house with my parents.
Mm-hmm.
What's coming to me now?
So you went out there and you played with your dolls. It was like another place for you, a sacred space.
Mm-hmm.
And how did you get away? I mean, what did you do to leave the chaos?
I just put my focus on my dolls.
Okay.
And fixing their house and their bed, and they're changing them.
Sort of like when you were fixing your house and you moved the chair and you found the ring. Are you Capricorn? Are you
Gemini.
are you a Gemini?
I'm on the cusp of Taurus and Gemini,
Okay.
21st of May.
So what are you doing in your life right now that gives you that kind of space to just be?
When I sit on my veranda and feel the breeze, and yeah, I have a small little veranda. And also when my daughter calls me um, and I watch Stephanie,
Oh, I saw something pop up here.
and she's 2 years old, and she calls me dear. She can't say granny. And that's what my mom used to call my father dear. And she's just so delightful and so innocent and so beautiful and so confident. And that brings me so much joy when I watch her.
Okay.
And she says, I love you, dear.
So this is something that strengthens you. This brings you back to the vertical.
Mm-hmm. Fills my heart with joy.
Yeah. So that heart is not in a cage, but you are so full of stories. So next time you tell a story, my heart is in a cage, I put my heart in a cage and all of that, catch yourself. Don't feed that, okay? My depression, catch yourself. That's not your depression. That's a story of creating depression. Don't be a victim to those stories.
Yeah, I keep playing them over and over to stay
You do.
separate so that I can.
If you had a little notebook and you just made a habit of writing them down in the beginning, then you could catch them. That's what I would do. That's the kind of vigilance I would have, is to look, just to be watchful, because that's the mind training you need.
Mm.
And take it seriously, because they're all rattlesnakes. They're not just little stories, they're rattlesnakes. They bite and they poison and they take you off. So I'm using rattlesnakes because I had a dream in my own life, of the rattlesnakes in the mind. Thoughts are rattlesnakes. They are very dangerous.
Poison.
Don't play with any of them. I used to, although now I don't know how much mind training you've done, but I used to carry a little notebook around and I would do the Byron Katie work with anything that came up that took me off center. And if I didn't have my notebook, I would grab a newspaper in the coffee shop and write right over the black and white script. It was just a habit that I made because I was such a drama queen.
Is this true?
Yeah, is this true? Is it true? Am I sure that it's true? What do I get for believing that? Who would I be without that story?
Happy, free.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I used to do Byron Katie.
Yeah. So you would be strengthening yourself if you did some of these things, not just be with your little granddaughter, but to really You said, what should I do? You need to actively watch your mind.
So every time I go into a story, just I can ask those questions.
Write it down. Don't just ask the question, because the ego will trick you and say you don't need to write it down. But when you write it down, you've caught it. When you write it down on paper, you've actually caught it. And then but if you just do it in your mind, it won't have the same effect.
Okay. I do. I have, like I was saying to myself this morning, I have all these books with all this stuff in them that I've written. Yeah. Victim. Yeah. I will, Judith.
But don't judge yourself for being a victim. Don't even go there anymore. Just say that's not true.
Okay.
I choose freedom. I choose peace.
I choose another way to look at this.
Yeah. I'm willing. I'm willing to see this from another perspective. How are you doing? Did I save you? No.
Well, you've reminded me to stay vertical, and that's what I wanted. I wanted to.
And the way to do that is to be present, no matter what the present is like. Just don't get into the mind at all. Yeah. It's a full-time career.
It is.
Yeah.
Thank you so.
You're welcome.
Thank you. I know this is all I want. I'm not interested in going out or shopping, or I'm just interested in the truth.
Mm-hmm.
That I know is true.
And it can be had. It's not far away. It's right here. So when you say that, know that it's already here. You just have to come home into this moment. Nobody outside of you has it. I'm just having flashes of the retreat, the people on the retreat. And there were several people that didn't break through.
No, right. Yeah.
You can see that. And what kept them from breaking through, well, let me let my cat in, was that they didn't have the willingness. That's all. Wait. This way. Come on. I think the only thing that kept them from not breaking through is they didn't have the willingness, because they thought they were already, I don't know. It's a picture I get. It's like they had another habit going. They didn't really know they needed anything. They didn't ask for help. They didn't come for help. They were replaying some old programs that, and I know that all that was needed was the willingness, but something took them off course.
I felt so open and so free. I had never experienced such unconditional love
Yeah.
and one. It
Yeah.
was
And it did happen for you.
like,
All you have to do is maintain. You just have to hold the vertical and let it continue. And you just got talked out of thinking that you lost it, which is a trick of the ego.
God is always here with me.
You're so beautiful.
Thank you. You know, my desire for this is so strong that I'm putting up blocks because I feel I don't deserve it.
Well, that was the past, and you already went beyond that, Sarah. You already left that paradigm. You already accepted it. Do you see what I'm saying? You already got it. So that thought, I didn't deserve it, that's where we all left, the ones of us that left. We left that old thinking. You know, I was with somebody earlier this week and they were doing the same thing, and what I heard to say to them is, you don't need to go there anymore. You don't need to analyze all that shit anymore. That's the past.
Right. I don't need to analyze anything. I just need to know
Just stay vertical.
I
That's all.
deserve to be in God's arms.
You already are in God's arms.
Okay.
Deserve isn't even an option. It happened. If you put I don't deserve, you're separating. You're in God's arms. Isn't that amazing? You just need to wake up. It already took place. The operation is over. It was a success.
That took me back to when Nuke said that we can unzip ourselves anytime. And I unzipped myself and I said, Lord, merge with me. And I zipped it back up.
Well, I don't know. I don't know. You don't know that you zipped it back up either. You got pulled off course. That's all. Is it true you zipped it back up? Let's go there. Is that thought true?
No.
You sure? What do you get out of the belief that you might have zipped it back up?
Safety, security.
From what?
He's one with me, and I'm one with God.
So you zipped it up. You said I zipped it back up, but I zipped it back up.
Yeah.
Is that true? Are you sure about that? You zipped yourself all back up. If you are, you have another choice. And what's the choice? You're talking about a separation between you and God. So what's the choice? I surrender. Come right back in. I surrender this separation. I surrender this thinking. And then it's done. It's all about thinking. There's no possibility that you're not in the arms of God. It can't, it just can't possibly be. But your mind can play games with you.
I'm one with God.
You always have been, except for your thinking. Nothing has changed from the beginning of time. There was no split, there was no separation. There was just a thought. There was just a thought of separation. And wasn't it wasn't true. It couldn't be. So yeah, so as I'm with you, the thing that I really hear that's the strongest is how much you really want the truth. You want that to be everything. And you've done the Course in Miracles. You've been working with it for how many years?
2.
Okay. It's helpful for me when I get in a place like this to go back to the very first, to go all the way back to the very first lessons. And they help me because, I mean, this is what I had to do. I had a big attack on the first day of the retreat. And I couldn't possibly let anybody know about it. It was really awful. And so, I mean, everybody was so busy, and I had to cook and, all that stuff. And what I heard, right as the attack started was surrender. I went into the bathroom and I heard surrender. And then, it was such a strong attack. And I started to analyze. I started to go into, well, maybe they didn't mean that, or maybe this or that, And then I heard surrender again. And I made it until I got home. And then the thought took over and it created it was such a big story. It was like, and it was about Nook. It was the worst thing that could have happened to me was to see Nook the way my mind saw her that day. And oh my God, I just thought, how can this possibly be true? But every single piece of that story looked real. It tasted real. It smelled real. It felt real. Every part of it seemed to be so 100% absolutely true. And so I did the willingness and willingness, but that wasn't enough. I didn't have the strength by that time. So I went back to the very first lessons, and I just read them. These thoughts, lesson 4 was where I really clicked in. These thoughts do not mean anything. And this thought about Nook does not mean anything. This thought about her being this does not mean anything. And then I did, I am never upset for the reason I think. I'm not worried. I'm not depressed. I see only the past. That was another one. I'm upset because I see something that is not here. It's in the past. And I just let myself go to each one of those like just being a beginner again. It was just take a step at a time. And I used the book. My mind is preoccupied with past thoughts. And it took, it wasn't going in. It wasn't an easy, it wasn't an easy turnaround. And finally, I went to bed. Regina was here, but Regina was not helpful. So I could see that, though. I could see that she wasn't going to be helpful with that. So I went to bed, and I knew that it was a projection, but I said, this is a projection. This is a projection, but it kept coming back, and it kept coming back. And I kept it was like a trauma. It was like you've just seen a very traumatic thing in the world, and your mind just keeps replaying it over and over again. So this was a real traumatic projection that was happening. And I don't know, it might have been by 4 o'clock in the morning. I was still trying to work with this. I'd get it a little way over and it'd swing back. And finally, I visualized Daniel at the board with the vertical and with the bullseye there. And I remember him saying, you've got to just hold on to the edge of the bullseye. Just hold on. And so I pictured myself holding on, like the ego was pulling my feet, like a cartoon pulling me back in. And I was holding on, and I see Daniel as really having awakened. And I said, Daniel, I need help. I called to him as if he could hear me. Daniel, I need your help to pull me over this edge. And I went to sleep, and it was gone. I went to sleep, and when I woke up, my mind was absolutely clear. And then I was clear about the projection. I was clear it wasn't true. I was clear that it was, it was horrible. And then I think it was maybe 2 days after that, Nook made her way over. I was sitting kind of in the middle of the chairs eating, and I was turned talking to somebody, and she tapped me on the shoulder, and she bent down and she looked at me and she said, I just want to tell you I love you. That's all. And I could feel my entire being receive that as the truth. Absolutely. It was like the gap, she didn't, she didn't know anything. I never needed to do that, but the gap closed in that moment beautifully. It was the Holy Spirit doing the whole thing. So I think we can ask for help in a lot of different ways.
Thank you for showing me my complete story that I've been going through, the nightmare. As you describe it, it's exactly me.
With Nook?
Not with Nook, no, just with my story. But
Yeah.
And what you have shown me is to ask for help.
That's why I went through the whole thing on my group last week too, and I told them every piece, and it was that final piece that asked for help that did it. I was struggling all by myself in the ego mind.
Yes, that's what you just showed me that I've been doing. Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh,
I've got somebody let me see.
I have so much regard for Daniel. He's just A beautiful, beautiful soul.
I have a big connection with Daniel. I don't have it with Nook yet, but it'll come. It'll come. And you know, the other thing that I saw when I told this in my group on Sunday was, you know, that Daniel Christ is in me, is in my mind. The help is there inside of me. I pictured him, you know, outside, like, you know, Daniel isn't in here, you know, but he is, you know, that symbol of the Christ is here. So I'm glad I told you that. Yeah.
Yes.
It was scary. Wow. It was so scary.
Thank you for sharing that.
Mm-hmm.
Really helpful. Mm-hmm. You've been so helpful. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay.
And I'd like to contribute money for this.
Oh, hold on. There. What I would say is that's great, because this helps me if I work with some people and I really work with them. So if you want to, you can just send me a PayPal donation.
Yeah, how do I do that? Just with your email?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. But I would help you even if you didn't, you know. But it really helps me because I live on Social Security.
No,
But you don't have to take me on as your next
I'd like to help you this time anyhow.
responsibility, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm so grateful to you. Just
Yeah. Well, this is good. You know, it's if you get stuck, you know, I'll give you everything I know, every trick there is. This is what I did for 40 years.
wow.
Yeah.
I know that you speak from your heart, and I've told you this before, and this is why I love Daniel too. You I am not afraid to receive anything you say. I am here to receive it.
Because there's no judgment.
I
It's
know.
just, I'm your sister and I love you.
I want to heal my mind. I don't want anybody to bullshit me. And
I know, I don't either, but I want somebody to be kind when they give me the
yeah.
love me when you're doing it. Don't treat me like a clinical number. Yeah.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. So if you could send this to me, I'm assuming, I'm not sure who, if we both hit record okay at the same time. I don't know if
No, I'll end the meeting and then it will download, and then it'll go into a YouTube and I'll send it to you.
okay. I want to know how to do that too. How did you learn that?
Daniel walked me through it.
Yeah.
I'm not exactly sure, but I'll think about it. I have somebody that I need to get to that was trying to reach me, but that I had for 12 o'clock. But maybe you can ask Daniel, because you're going to be a teacher, aren't you?
Not yet. I'm not feeling inspired yet.
Okay. So he walked me through how to do it, how to get it set up. I love you, my beautiful sister.
Love you too. Thank you for being available and for being so helpful.
Okay.
Love you.
Bye, honey.
Bye.
Let me see. End meeting. Oh, stop recording.